Thank you, Mimi. I'm Dr. Ben. For your business, I'm usually helping you with manufacturing or distribution or whatever else I can do. And I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and was born there. And I've been a customer for Algorithm and loved Algorithm so much that I scratched and clawed to become an employee. I love it. And today I'm talking to you about project inventory tracking. So if you're already using projects or you're thinking seriously about using projects and maybe you're wanting to get some better inventory tracking with your projects, then this is for you today. Maybe that you'd like to have a scenario where your inventory is received and might go directly to a project, and you could see those quantities that you have specifically by project. Maybe you have some generic part numbers in your inventory, but the inventory, for whatever reason, tends to be specific or special by project. Then this new functionality that we're about to look at with 24/2 is probably right up your alley. So let me show you some of the new features. First place to start is on the production order. And if you look at the references tab, what we see here, we've already had, but there's a project section where you see the project task, cost code, and so on, which governs the tracking of costs against the project. It is important to have this update project checkbox checked so that we can use this new functionality. And the first screen that we see this is on the critical materials screen. Perhaps you're already using this to your benefit already in production. So new here is the quantity on hand for project and then the quantity short for project. If we show all items, we can see the standard quantity on hand and quantity short that you're used to. But now we can see, importantly, with 24R2, some calculations by project. So maybe you have a lot of inventory, but you need to see the quantities specific just to this project. You can see that now on the critical materials screen. So how does this work? How do the calculations work? Well, if you go over to the projects, you'll recall, again, this is not new, that we already had an inventory tracking functionality, and we had two basic types here. We could track by location or project quantity. So if you track by location, then that's going to look at the location on your warehouses screen, and it's going to look to see if you have both the production and the sales allowed. If that's true, and then you have inventory that comes into that location, then it's going to calculate that back here on this screen that way. Or the other option is just to track project quantity, and that will just look at all that's on hand by project. So just note that we can have a location, and then we can make that project specific to that location. So how do we bring in some inventory? Well, I did this in a simple way just by doing an inventory receipt, and I brought in a quantity to a project. Again, this could default based on the way that you have your warehouse location set up. Again, you could just receive the inventory. It could go directly to that project and automatically be calculated to that project. You'll notice down below that because this is project specific, that we actually have two sets of calculations below. The first one, you see the 20 down there, is project related, and that's across the whole bottom line there. And then the second set of quantities is the standard quantity calculations that you're used to already. So here's another example that I did with 20 and 25. And you'll notice there's a project there, so we get both sets. And then I did another one that was not related to a project, and then you see that the project quantities are not calculated. Here's an example of an adjustment. So you could do -5 and then adjust it to bring in the quantity against the project. You see there. We can also do a transfer. So you could potentially receive in something to maybe quality and then transfer that to the project once it's ready to assign that quantity. And then another screen that they've changed, this is new again to 24R2, is an available quantity for project on the Material Wizard 2 screen. That's the screen that you get when you're issuing materials or releasing materials to a production order. And you come here and you can select. So there's a new column here. Notice on this example, I am specifying the location that the inventory has to be in. So it's looking at this location, which has to be assigned to this project. And then it's telling me I have 20 available there. Another example, here I've chosen a different location, but for whatever reason with this project, it's not related, so it's showing me 0 here. I could still use some available quantity if I wanted, but if it's important again to my business to track by project, then this would be an important thing to see. And then here's an example of then actually selecting the materials and then going to the materials transaction. New with 24R2 are these project task, and cost code columns. So now that we can actually see the project that it's going against, perhaps even select or change the location and manage that through the materials screen. And then the same kind of functionality is also on the labor screen. Again, the labor screen would be where we would report labor, if you're not familiar, or it would also be the place where we would report a quantity that's being produced. And here they're showing here the project information as well. So you'll see this on other screens in manufacturing. You would see it on a move screen. You would see it on a vendor shipment, WIP adjustment, cost transaction, and disassembly. So they brought all this functionality and they made it consistent. And you'll notice down here at the bottom too, all along, it's showing both types of quantity calculations. It's showing the project as well as the standard inventory calculations that you're accustomed to. That was back here on the materials screen as well. So that's all now consistent. That can be used to track your inventory. So again, hopefully with project management and inventory, you can see some value for your business to track your inventory throughout the system and throughout your business against projects. Thank you.